Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I wanted to start off by thanking you all for understanding why yesterday, or technically today, because I'm recording this on a Tuesday, but I'm not uploading this on Tuesday because of Dead Upload Day, which I am partaking in because screw YouTube. And for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's all because of this new law, or rather it's a law that's been around, but it's being re-implemented by the FTC called the COPPA law, C-O-P-P-A, about child protective, which in and of itself as a law is not a terrible law, but the way it's being implemented specifically by YouTube is where the big problem comes in, because YouTube will do anything within its power to make content creators have the most difficult time getting their content out there. YouTube's just trying to save their own butt, but they're doing it in the worst way possible. And luckily we've had some word from the FTC because a lot of people have been very upset and angry about it, and so we have gotten some more clarification and word about the law itself, but whether or not YouTube will listen to that or not is still up for debate. So today, I'm going to talk about the Terminator Dark Fate box office, because the big question that a lot of people have in their minds is how much is this movie going to lose? We know it cost a lot of money to make, and we know that it's not making a whole lot at the box office either. So we're going to use the same math and methodology that I've been using for the last couple of videos, even though there's someone who actually wished death upon me and my family in a previous video, all because I spoke the truth about the fact that even though Ford v Ferrari is a great film, it is likely going to lose money because of how much it cost and the fact it's not making money overseas. First off, it's disgusting that you would say that to any individual person, let alone someone that you don't know, but also, seriously, God have mercy on your soul, and I hope that reporting you brings you to justice. Anyway, had to get that out of the way for a second. Let me go ahead and dive into these numbers. So the production budget for Terminator Dark Fate was $185 million. So you all know where we're going to go. We're going to do the math live now. We're going to see where we go. So $185 million. So remember how much it costs in order to promote a film? That's right. You take and you divide this by 2 because that is the half number, meaning that they likely spent around $92.5 million on the overall marketing of the film. You add that then to the overall budget, which was, remember, $185 million, which means it likely cost around $277.5 million to both produce and promote this film. Now, this number could be higher, let alone, and keep in mind that these are estimates. Estimates means these are not exact numbers. These are just industry standards and are a pretty good metric to determine just how well or how poorly a film will do. So the film overall cost $277.5 million. So how much money is it going to lose? Well, we need to go to the actual numbers as we have them as of now. So as of now, it's made $249.5 million after a few weeks. But remember, the number that we always like to go by is the first 2 weeks, which has been very hard to track down because ever since BoxOfficeMojo.com died because IMDb Pro killed it, we don't really have a reliable site to get the total weekend, the weekend totals, and I've actually had to dive into the Deadline archives to be able to dig up the number, or at least the projected number at the time, because we don't have those exact numbers for the international markets. We can look up weekends on thenumbers.com, which is the site that I've been using. I like it a lot, but we can't do the same thing for international numbers. So thenumbers.com, if you can just add in that box office tab a way to look at the international numbers by weekend, you will make my job so much easier. But as of 2 weeks, Terminator Dark Fate had made roughly $200 million. Now, this here is going to say after 3 weekends. However, that's including an early release in other countries, which was not a full release. And so, therefore, we're just going to assume that this is after a 2-week span because it was only released 2 weeks after, or 2 weeks prior in the United States and in most other countries at that point. So $200 million is the number around the number it made after the first 2 weeks. So we need to go back to our trusty handy-dandy calculator. So if $200 million is the amount of money it made the first 2 weeks, we can determine how much money it is likely to make, right? So we take the $200 million that it made after 2 weeks, we multiply it by 10, and then we divide that by 6. And that gets us $333 million, which no one in their right mind thinks is going to happen, right? So that's assuming, remember, that is assuming that the number that we had, the $200 million, is 60% of what it's going to make. In all likelihood, it's going to end up being a much higher percentage, probably closer to 70% or even 75% of its total, because no one in their right mind thinks that Dark Fate's going to be going that much further past $300 million and probably won't even reach $300 million, right? So this would be the highest that it could possibly do at this point in time and is not likely to happen. But let's just, for the sake of argument, assume that it does the best possible. It somehow finds a new audience and people go to see it and go crazy for it. Let's just assume that. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt because it's not going to really help the numbers all that much. So $333 million is what it's expected to make. But remember, they only get 60% of the box office total. And I'm also doing that because it just makes my job a little bit easier keeping it at 60% because remember, 60% of that would be $200 million, right? So $200 million is how much money they would actually get if they were to reach that number, which the way, again, we've already made the point, they will not get to $333 million. So let's assume $200 million is the best profit that they could get. Well, remember, how much money did this movie cost to make? That's right, $277.5 million, meaning that this film will be, at its best, a $77.5 million loss. I know. Isn't that insane? Isn't that absolutely insane, River? I feel the exact same way. Now, let's just see exactly how it stands at this point in time. Let's assume that it made nothing. Let's assume that it's got stuck at the $250 million point as it is right now. Again, not going to happen. It's going to make a little bit more money, but really not all that much. But let's just assume that is the case. All right. So let us then say it makes 60% of that number. That means it would only make $150 million in actual profit, but it still costs $277 million to make. So 277 minus 150 gets you a loss of $127 million. Now, this is the reason why many people are speculating that this film will be over $100 million loss, because even though it might make a little bit more than the money it has now, it's very likely that the film did cost more to make than they are letting on, because the marketing seems to be in the case where it's actually making a crap ton of money. In fact, I think Terminator Dark Fate was supposed to make around $325 million if it wanted to break even, which to me would be, a giant number for it to hit, but also I think that's being a little bit generous as well. But the point is this: Dark Fate is losing money. Dark Fate is likely losing over $100 million, because this is all assuming that the $200 million that it made after 2 weeks is indeed 60% of its box office total, which in all likelihood is not going to be the case. And what likely will be the case is that after 2 weekends, it made almost 70 or 75 or even 80% of its entire domestic and international gross. And if that's the case, you're looking at a film that will lose well over $100 million. And if the budget is higher than what we've been told, and if the marketing is higher than what we've been told, you're looking at a movie that could lose upwards of $150 million. Not looking good for them, and this goes ahead and shows you very clearly, if you go woke, you will go broke, and they went woke in every single way in the plot, marketing, and also, of course, with the stupid director who made a great film in Deadpool, but has not been able to keep his mouth shut, and now, after the film has failed, is blaming people like James Cameron for the failure, when instead, he should take a nice mirror, take a look at himself, and say to himself, shame on you. Anyway, what are your thoughts about this? Do you think the movie is going to lose more than $127 million? Do you think that it is going to lose, not all that much money? Again, it's possible. It's possible that it only, loses about $70 or $80 million, but hey, that's still not all that great in the first place. I know, River. I feel the same exact way. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about this and all the stuff we talked about in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, give us a crowd, helps me a lot, you amazing, beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and I will be out for this weekend and up to this week and up to the week, through the week, in the weekend. And so therefore, you'll see some videos. Probably I'm going to try and see if I can record some today in advance. That way I can still get the daily uploads after, of course, Tuesday being the dead day. But I'll keep y'all guys posted on keep you guys posted on that. Look forward to a Black Friday video very soon. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.